Yo, what's up everyone, it's Danny, and this is Tech Journey Channel. We all know the feeling. You're trying to navigate a website or use an app, but the design is so bad it's almost painful. You're clicking everywhere, confused, frustrated, and you just end up leaving. But today, we're fixing that. We're diving deep into the world of UI UX design. In this video, I'll take you through 5 simple UI UX improvements that make a huge difference. Whether you're a designer, a developer, or just someone who appreciates a well-designed app, this video is for you. So let's get started. Alright, let's get real for a second. We've all come across websites or apps that just make us want to throw our phones across the room, but what is it about them that's so frustrating? That's what we're breaking down in this chapter, identifying the hallmarks of bad UI. First up, you've got the cluttered interfaces. You know, the ones that cram way too much information onto the screen at once, buttons everywhere, text overlapping images, just a complete mess. It's like they're trying to fit a whole desktop experience onto your tiny phone screen. Then, there's the issue of confusing navigation. You're clicking around trying to find a specific feature, but the menus are a labyrinth. You end up in some random section completely lost and questioning your life choices. And don't even get me started on inconsistent design language. One minute the buttons are round, the next they're square. You're never quite sure what clicking on something will do because the design cues are all over the place. Remember, a bad UI is more than just an aesthetic problem, it impacts the entire user experience. Now that we've identified what makes UI bad, let's shift gears and talk about how to make it better. And that all starts with a solid UX strategy. Remember, UX is all about the user's journey, how they interact with your product and the experience they have along the way. The first principle of good UX is clarity. Your design should be easy to understand and navigate. Users shouldn't have to hunt for information or guess how things work. Everything should be intuitive and self-explanatory. Next up, we've got consistency. A consistent design language is crucial for building trust and familiarity with your users. Use the same fonts, colors, button styles, and interactions throughout your entire design. Simplicity is key. Stick to familiar patterns and conventions that users are accustomed to. Efficiency is another important factor. Your design should help users complete their tasks quickly and easily. Minimize the number of steps required to achieve a goal and streamline the user flow. Now, let's talk about visual hierarchy. Use size, color, and contrast to create a clear visual hierarchy that draws attention to key actions and information. Alright everyone, it's time to bring our UX strategy to life and actually start designing. And for that, we're turning to our secret weapon Figma. Now if you're not familiar with Figma, it's a powerful design tool that's taking the industry by storm. It's collaborative, web-based, and super intuitive even if you're new to design. First things first, we need to fire up Figma and create a new project. We'll start with a blank canvas and build our design from the ground up. But before we jump into the visuals, let's take a moment to plan out our layout using Figma's handy frame tool. We'll define the structure of our design, creating separate frames for the header, navigation, content area, and footer. Now for the fun part, let's start adding some elements. We'll use Figma's shape tools to create buttons, icons, and other UI components. And to make our design pop, we'll experiment with different colors, fonts, and images. Remember that UX strategy we talked about in the last chapter? Well, this is where it all comes together. We'll apply those principles to our Figma design, ensuring that our layout is clear, our navigation is intuitive, and our overall design is visually appealing and user-friendly. As we're designing, we'll also pay close attention to spacing and alignment. Now, we've got a solid foundation for our UI design, but you know me, I'm all about those little details that take things to the next level. And that's where micro-interactions come in. So, what exactly are micro-interactions? They're those subtle animations and effects that provide feedback to the user and make our UI feel more responsive and engaging. Think about the way a button changes color when you hover over it, or the subtle animation that plays when you refresh a feed. These are all examples of micro-interactions. In this chapter, we're going to sprinkle some of that magic into our Figma design. We'll start with some basic hover effects. We'll use Figma's prototyping feature to create smooth transitions and color changes when the user interacts with buttons and other UI elements. Next up, let's add some loading animations. These are great for providing visual feedback and letting the user know that something is happening in the background. We'll create a simple loading spinner that appears while our app is fetching data. The key with micro-interactions is to keep them subtle and purposeful. Alright everyone, we've come a long way. We've identified bad UI, learned about UX strategy, redesigned our interface in Figma, and even added some micro-interactions. Now, it's time to take a step back and admire our handiwork. We started with a UI that was cluttered, confusing, and neglected basic UX principles. But through careful planning, thoughtful design choices, and a sprinkle of Figma magic, we've transformed it into something truly special. Our redesigned UI is clean, modern, and intuitive. The layout is clear and easy to navigate, with a strong visual hierarchy that guides the user's eye. We've incorporated a consistent design language throughout, making our UI feel cohesive and professional. And let's not forget about those micro interactions. They add a layer of polish and sophistication, making our UI feel alive and responsive. From subtle hover effects to smooth transitions, every detail has been carefully considered to enhance the user experience. So, there you have it. 5 UI UX improvements that can transform your designs from frustrating to fantastic. Remember, a great user experience is all about putting yourself in the shoes of your users and designing with their needs in mind. If you enjoyed this video and learned a thing or two about UI UX design, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more design tips and tutorials. Hit that like button and subscribe for more UI UX tutorials. See you in the next one. Until then, keep designing, keep experimenting, and keep those creative juices flowing. Peace.